Hey YouTube, welcome back to my channel, Taylor Talks Tales. Today I have a book tag video for you. I'm really excited about this one because this is a book tag video that I myself came up with. I was on a run yesterday and all of a sudden just popped in my head. I'm like, we should have some sort of like COVID-19 quarantine book tag, and I haven't really seen anybody doing this in the BookTube community. There may be one out there that I've missed, but I haven't really seen one, and I figured I should just make one. So I have 7 questions on this, and in this video, if you want to do this tag, I pretty much tag anybody who wants to do it. Just if you can let me know that you've done it, or just acknowledge that you were tagged by me or something like that, that would be awesome. I hope a lot of people end up doing this because I think it's a lot of fun. I love watching tag videos, and especially since a lot of us are currently in quarantine or staying at home, or just are impacted by what's going on right now. I think this would be kind of an interesting tag to watch and see what people are doing in all parts of the world. So let's get started with question 1. What are your current quarantine bookish plans? So when I started out with during quarantine, because I live in Washington State, so some things happened to us a little bit sooner because we had a big outbreak towards the beginning of March and mid-March. I was working on my book, and I finished my book on March 26th. It was just the first draft, but I ended up with 123,000 words, which is way too long for the thriller that I was writing, so I need to trim it a bit, but I'm taking a break, and instead I'm sending my book out to my alpha readers, and they're working on giving me some feedback right now, so I'm really looking forward to that. And now I am focusing more again on my YouTube channel. I'm focusing on getting started on writing another book. I have this awesome idea that I can't wait to get started on, but I've told myself I need 2 solid weeks to just relax and recharge my brain, and I'm just doing a lot of reading in that time. I definitely want to get through the Dark Tower series, so there's a couple series I want to get through, and I have 2 books left in the Dresden Files series, and then I'll be done, and then I'll be able to do a full review on the entire series, and then just taking it easy and reading some books that I may not have gotten to. So I'm just definitely using this time for books and writing. Question 2. What was your last acquired book or bookish item before lockdown? So I actually have 2, because Washington State, we ended up having essentially sort of a couple waves of shutdowns and lockdowns. First was the libraries actually closed. So the schools closed. I worked for the school, so I was a little bummed. I'd gone to the library the next day to work on my book, and then the day after that, it was the libraries were shutting down, and we only had a couple hours notice that the libraries were shutting down for well over a month. And for me, because I hadn't picked up a lot of books from the library recently, and I tend not to keep a lot of books on hand that I haven't read. Most of the books in my collection I have already read, so I just booked it there, checked out 40 books. Technically, the last book that I checked out was The Hatching by Ezekiel Boone, which is about killer spiders that take over the world, and it's very apocalyptic, and I'm looking forward to reading this. I haven't started it yet, but I think it'll be a lot of fun. And then the other was the retail stores were open for longer, and I believe everything, like retail, shut down March, 22nd or something like that, March 23rd. The day before the lockdown of everything, pretty much, was I picked up The Deep by Amakatsu from a bookstore near my house, and I'm glad I did. I'm glad that I popped in that bookstore because I picked up a couple different books, and then all of a sudden it was like, oh, everything's closed. And this is about ghosts on the Titanic and the Britannic, and I'm really looking forward to it. I just started it because I'm doing a back-to-back read-through of Amakatsu's 2 books, more recent books, The Hunger and then The Deep, so I'm going to be doing a video with those 2 soon. Alright, question 3. Name your favorite book with a virus or spreadable infection. And I want to point out favorite fictional book. And if you've been following my channel long enough, you'll know which one I'm about to show you, which book, and that is The Stand by Stephen King. The virus in this is just deadly and terrifying and has an 89% kill rate, so that's pretty extreme. And this book is just a solid, well-done book. I love it. I'm almost done with my reread of it, and then I'll be doing a review of it pretty soon, so stay tuned for that. But I would say this is the book that I chose. Question 4. List your top 5 books on your TBR during quarantine. I actually have a lot on this, and so I pretty much just kind of grabbed 5 books that I definitely know I will be getting to. First one is The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern, author of The Night Circus, and I'm hoping this is going to be just a magical, fun book. I've heard some pretty good things about it, and I'm looking forward to it because I've heard this is really a book for book lovers. Next one is, of course, this is actually probably the top of my list, and that is Stephen King's The Institute. I haven't gotten to it yet, and I feel really bad because I've been wanting to read this book for months now since it came out, so this is most likely going to be my next read once I'm done with the Alma Katsu books. Next one is so I read the First Law trilogy, the first 2 books, and then a short story collection by Joe Abercrombie. I don't have access to the 3rd book right now, unless I did ebook, and I don't tend to want to read ebooks, so I'm just holding out for when quarantine and lockdowns are done to get the 3rd book. So in the meantime, I'm reading another Joe Abercrombie book, A Little Hatred, to tide me over until then I can get the 3rd book in the First Law trilogy. And then the last 2, I'm very excited for this one, which is A Cosmology of Monsters. I've heard some pretty good things about this, especially people in the horror community. I've heard it's sort of a literary monster book, and there's a lot of twists and turns and a lot of things going on, and sort of has a gothic feel to it, from what I've read, from what people have told me. So I'm looking forward to this. And then I'm also looking forward to The Last Astronaut by David Wellington, and this one has to do with this astronaut who was in this big disaster, and she gets called back to report to duty because there's some strange things happening, and I love sci-fi horror and sci-fi thrillers, so I think this is going to be a lot of fun. Alright, question 5. If you ran out of books during quarantine, what book would you reread first? And that's going to be a pretty easy one. Also, if you've been following my channel, you'll know I love this book, and that's Swan Song by Robert McCammon. It's a beast of a book, so I don't get a chance to reread it as much as I would love to, but with quarantine having a lot more free time, I definitely could see myself revisiting this book at some point in the near future. I also think I would probably reread Station 11 by Emily St. John Mandel. It's a great book, and I feel like it's very applicable to what's going on right now. And question 6. Name an underappreciated book that you hope becomes viral in the BookTube community someday. So the books that I hope would be viral, I actually have 3. I'm cheating a little on my own tag. But 2 of them are part of the horror community. I would like for the horror BookTube community to talk about these more. And then the other one is just more of the broader general BookTube community. December Park and the Sonia Blue collection, so Midnight Blue, and there's like basically 3 stories in this. Both of these are horror books, and I love them a lot, and very few people on BookTube talk about them or mention them at all, and I think that they definitely should get some recognition. I have a review for this book on my channel. I don't have a review for this one yet, but I'm going to be doing it soon because I want more people to talk about it. And then the other book that I think just everyone in the BookTube community should check out is In the Shadow of Blackbirds by Kat Winters. This is a cross-genre. It has ghosts and the occult, and it also is a historical fiction, and it has a sort of feminist themes to it, and there's romance, and there's just so much in this book, and I love it. And there's even some really cool pictures too. If I can find an example of one. Oh, maybe not. Oh, yeah, actually has real pictures in it too. So this is just like such a well done book, and very few people on BookTube seem to really talk about it. I think it'd be a good read for right now because actually all of the events take place during the Spanish influenza outbreak. So over 100 years ago, 1919, all the events started taking place right around then. So this is actually a book that I may be rereading some point soon because of all the flu stuff. So very good. Alright, question 7. If you ended up getting sick, what book or books would be your comfort reads? Well, aside from some of my favorite books, I think I would probably pick The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy by Douglas Adams. This is my dad's old copy that I actually really love just because he gave it to me when I was a little kid. It's just a nice, fun read, light-hearted read. I love it. And then the others, I would say, the reason why I picked these as a comfort read is I tend to read these when I'm sick. they're not necessarily the world's greatest books, but I fell in love with them when I was 11 years old, and there's so much nostalgic factors going into this for me. And that's the Blue is for Nightmares series. So it's a witchy series, 4 books. There's technically a 5th one, but it's a graphic novel and it's garbage. So Blue is for Nightmares, Rise for Magic, Slippers for Secrets, and Rise for Remembrance. I really like these books a lot. And again, I see them through the veil of nostalgia, so they may not be great, but for me, they're comfort reads. They make me feel better when I'm sick. They're like an equivalent of chicken soup and a blanket. Alright, and that's pretty much it. Then I pretty much will leave you guys to tagging and other people and doing this tag and letting me know what's going on with you. I hope everyone is well and healthy and hanging in there. I will put my email down below. If anyone ever wants to talk to me about anything, let me, reach out to me. Sometimes it takes me a little while to get back to you, but if it's an urgent matter, I definitely will get back to you, because I've been through some stuff in the past, so I feel like I can handle these kinds of situations and be able to support people who need it. So, feel free to reach out or anything like that, and I hope to see your own tag videos, and please comment, rate, and subscribe, and I will talk to you guys later. Happy reading, stay healthy.